Hey, what's up everybody? No magazines this time, just poking around the web and finding more things to recreate. And this I thought was a pretty interesting design from WordPress, and I wanted to recreate this here. So I've already grabbed this and popped it over into Sketch, and what I did was I went on Pixabay and found a picture that I could use, just something quick. I'm going to copy this image and bring it into Sketch. And actually, let's see if we can get the... No, that'll work out. I'll make sure that I can make it big enough. So something like that. Alright, so what I want to recreate, if you haven't guessed it already, is this white border that goes around the outside that seems to run behind the person. So let's see if we can do that here with this image. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle on my keyboard and draw one out. Something like this here, and I want to get it centered in the picture. So about right there. I want the top to go over their heads, and you can drop the opacity just to see where it is. I want the bottom portion to run by their legs, and let's do it so it's kind of in line with the horizon here, or not the horizon, but the road. Just a little bit, something like that. I'm going to hit Command D. I bring the opacity up. So I'm going to duplicate this shape. I'll hit Command D, and I'm going to change the color of this. And I'm just going to start dragging it in a bit. So I want this down. This is going to be kind of the header up here, or the navigation menu. I'm going to drag these in. Let's go ahead and get this centered. I'm going to hold down Shift, so both of these are selected, and then center it. And then for the bottom portion, let's go ahead and drag, whoops, and Z. I just want this one selected, drag this up, something like that there. And I would want it to be consistent, so I mean you could hold down Alt and make sure that the spacing is the same on the bottom and the sides. Right now the sides are at 29 and the bottom is at 26, so I can, let's see, I need to bring this a little bit shorter by about 3. 1, 2, 3. So now I've got 29. Okay, so now with this shape selected, I'm inventing new words here. I'm gonna get both of these selected and choose subtract. Let's change the color of this to white. That's what I want there. So now we want to get these cutaways going for their legs to make it look like it's kind of running behind them. So let's zoom in here, and the way that I'm proposing to do this is, let's click off our shape first. I'm going to drop the opacity down. Oops. Command Z. I want to select this, and I want to drop the opacity down a bit, just so I can see behind. And I think I'm going to use my vector drawing tool. So I'll hit V for vector, and I'm going to draw out what I think is the line of her leg. And I'm just going to bring it down here. Let's go there. Something like that. And we can bring this up a bit. And it doesn't necessarily have to be straight. You can click and bend this in or out just to make it look a little more realistic, but I think that's probably fine. I'm going to fill this and take off the border. And now I'm going to click off of it. Now my shape is in kind of regular mode, so to speak. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to get this white background, or the white shape that we just created, and I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract this shape from my main shape, just to show that kind of cutaway, and make it look like it's running behind her leg. And then we'll repeat the process for the rest of her legs. And you want to get as close as you can to kind of the shape of her pants. And to do that, you might need to drop the opacity down just a bit more. You can really see through there. I'm going to hit V for vector again. Let's start up here. And this one has a little bit of bend in it, so after I click here, drag that in a bit. And I'll hit delete, bring this straight across. Same deal here. I'm going to click probably about right there and get a little bit of bend going. There we go, hit delete, and complete my shape. So click finish editing. Same as before, let's add a fill. get rid of the border. I'm going to select both of these and then subtract. There we go, nice little cutaway. Let's come over here and then do the guys. Hit V for vector, and then just repeat the process. Down and dirty cutaways. You can get really zoomed in here just to make sure that it is the way you want it. You can always go back and tweak this a little bit if you need to, if it doesn't look exactly how you want it. So with those two selected, let's subtract again. So let's say I did want to go back and kind of fine tune this a bit. I can come to my path here. Let's click edit. I can add a point here and kind of play around with this if I needed to come in a little bit more or out, whichever. But I'm pretty happy with the way that is. And let's do the last one here. So V for vector. Let's draw this out. I'm going to put a little bit of bend in there. Come over here. And we'll keep that kind of like that there. Close off this shape. Finish editing. Fill. Take off the border. Repeat this process and subtract. Now let's zoom out. So those tiny little details aren't necessarily going to stand out once you zoom out, but the more precise you get it when you're zoomed in, the less work you'll have to do after the fact. So let's go ahead and get zoomed out here. Let's see if we can click that shape. Let's bring the opacity back up to where it was. And there you go. So there is that effect. I think that looks really cool. You could go in and add the text, add some text up here for your navigation bar, but overall I thought this was a really cool effect and something that is very easily recreated, and that is how you do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.